The story begins with General Maximus preparing his troops for the final battle. Suddenly, a horse carrying a dead body rode into the Roman camp, a sign that the barbarians refused to surrender. Maximus ordered his men to get ready. As the battle began, Roman catapults launched fire at the enemy. Archers rained arrows, and cavalry and soldiers charged into the fight. The battle was fierce, but under Maximus's command, the Romans won. After the victory, the soldiers returned to camp. Emperor Marcus Aurelius summoned his son, Commodus, and daughter, Princess Lucilla, to join him on the battlefield. Maximus, meanwhile, asked the emperor for permission to go home to his family, but before leaving, Commodus arrived and hugged his father. He offered 100 cows to celebrate the win, but Marcus Aurelius said the real hero was Maximus. This upset Commodus, though he masked his feelings with a hug for Maximus. That night, Commodus tried to recruit Maximus to serve as his general, but Maximus politely refused, saying he only wished to return to his wife and son. The next morning, Marcus Aurelius summoned Maximus and made a shocking request. He wanted Maximus to succeed him as ruler of Rome. Marcus planned to turn Rome into a republic, free from corruption. Maximus was reluctant, saying he was just a soldier and that politics should be left to others. He suggested Commodus, but the emperor refused, calling his son unfit to lead. Maximus asked for time to consider and spent the night praying for guidance. Later, Commodus visited his father and learned about his plan to make Maximus the next ruler. Feeling betrayed, Commodus hugged his father tightly and suffocated him, killing him in secret. When Maximus heard of the emperor's death, he rushed to Marcus Aurelius's tent, where he found Commodus already declared the new ruler. Princess Lucilla, suspicious of her brother, slapped him but quickly apologized, realizing his power. Maximus warned his trusted aide Cicero to alert the senators, but before he could act, Commodus ordered General Quintus to arrest Maximus. The next day, soldiers took Maximus to a forest to be executed. At the last moment, Maximus fought back and escaped. He fled to his home, desperate to see his family, but when he arrived, he found his house burned and his wife and son murdered by Roman soldiers. Overwhelmed with grief, Maximus buried his family and collapsed from exhaustion and injuries. When he woke up, he was in a cart with strangers. He had been captured by slavers and taken to a town called Zucabar. A man named Proximo bought him, intending to train him as a gladiator. In the arena, Maximus was tested. At first, he refused to fight, letting his opponent beat him. Later, in the quiet of the camp, he burned off the tattoo on his arm, a symbol of his life as a Roman general, leaving his past behind. Maximus became friends with a fellow slave named Juba. Juba asked why Maximus didn't fight back when he was attacked, but Maximus stayed silent. Soon, another slave named Hagen, who had fought Maximus earlier, joined them. Hagen told them that the only way to earn freedom was to win every fight and become the strongest gladiator. Later, the slaves were taken to the arena for a battle. Proximo, their owner, was challenged by some of his business partners to bet on Maximus and Juba's lives. Proximo accepted the bet. Before the fight, he gave the gladiators a speech, saying they couldn't choose when they died, but could choose how they would be remembered. The gladiators prepared for the battle. The crowd in the arena cheered loudly as the fighters entered. Each pair of gladiators was chained together. Maximus and Juba were paired up. While the chains made it hard to fight, Maximus and Juba worked together and managed to defeat all their opponents. Meanwhile, in Rome, Commodus was officially crowned emperor. The people shouted at him in anger, showing they didn't trust his leadership. At the palace, Commodus met with senators but quickly grew frustrated with their advice. After leaving the meeting, Commodus talked to his sister, Princess Lucilla, about his plans. She suggested patience, but Commodus ignored her. He decided to win the people's love by entertaining them with gladiator fights. He announced a massive 150-day gladiator tournament in Rome. Back in the gladiator camp, Proximo noticed Maximus's strength and determination. Proximo pushed Maximus to reveal who he truly was, but Maximus stayed quiet. During one match in the Colosseum, Maximus's skill and bravery caught the crowd's attention, and they began cheering his name. Commodus, watching from his seat, sensed the crowd's admiration for Maximus. Curious, he approached Maximus in the arena and asked for his name. Maximus removed his helmet and declared himself,
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true emperor Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
The crowd cheered wildly for Maximus, leaving Commodus unable to punish him without angering the people. Furious, Commodus allowed Maximus to live, planning to deal with him later. Maximus returned to the gladiators' quarters, where his fellow slaves celebrated his courage. Proximo saw how much the people loved Maximus and advised him to use their support to his advantage. Commodus, however, started plotting ways to get rid of Maximus without upsetting the crowd. He arranged more dangerous battles to try and ensure Maximus's death. Maximus, realizing the danger, began secretly working with his fellow gladiators. He also met with Princess Lucilla, who hated Commodus's cruel rule. She told Maximus that Commodus planned to destroy the Senate and tighten his grip on Rome. Lucilla suggested a plan. Maximus could rally the people and the Senate to overthrow Commodus and restore the Republic. Though hesitant at first, Maximus agreed, driven by his need for justice and revenge. As the games continued, Maximus's victories made him even more popular. The people began to see him as a symbol of hope. The arena became more than a place for battles. It became the start of a rebellion. The stage was set for a final showdown between Maximus and Commodus, a fight that would decide the fate of Rome. Maximus didn't answer Commodus when he asked his name and turned his back on him. This made Commodus very angry. In a fit of rage, Commodus took off his helmet and declared that his real name was Commodus, general of the Romans. He realized that Maximus was the man he had ordered killed, but somehow Maximus had survived. Commodus, furious, ordered his men to prepare to kill Maximus. However, the crowd, seeing how they loved Maximus, started chanting his name, asking for him to be spared. Afraid of losing the people's support, Commodus reluctantly let Maximus live and left the Colosseum. Maximus and the other gladiators left the arena, and as they walked, the crowd continued chanting Maximus's name. After the fight, Maximus met Cicero, who gave him a prayer statue. Maximus kissed the statue, praying for his family, and told Cicero to send a message to his soldiers, saying that their general was still alive. Cicero said they were ready to fight for Maximus. Maximus also told Cicero to give a message to Princess Lucilla that he was ready to meet her and the senators. Later, Maximus, Lucilla, and Senator Gracchus met in secret. They discussed overthrowing Commodus. Maximus promised to return to Rome with 5,000 soldiers to help them, but he didn't want to become emperor himself. He just wanted revenge and would leave Rome after that, letting the senators govern. Gracchus asked for 2 days to prepare. The next day, Gracchus tried to gather money to free Maximus, but Proximo noticed royal soldiers watching them. The plan failed. Proximo told Maximus that it was too risky, but Maximus persuaded him to continue. Proximo agreed to help, but they knew it wouldn't be easy. Meanwhile, royal troops came for Senator Gracchus, taking him away. At the palace, Princess Lucilla was shocked to see that most of the senators were being arrested as well. Princess Lucilla entered her room and found Commodus already there. He told her he suspected Senator Gracchus was plotting against him because he had been stirring up trouble with other senators. Commodus said he would do something to stop him. That night, Princess Lucilla met Maximus and told him that Senator Gracchus had been arrested. She said Commodus was worried someone was trying to overthrow him, so they had to act quickly to carry out their plan. Meanwhile, Commodus and his son Lucius were practicing sword fighting. Lucius accidentally called Maximus a hero, which made Commodus angry. He asked who told him that, and Lucius quickly stayed quiet. Princess Lucilla returned to the palace, looking for Lucius. She found him with Commodus, who had figured out that Lucilla was planning to overthrow him. He ordered his troops to arrest Maximus and kill all the senators by putting snakes in their beds while they slept. Maximus prepared to carry out his plan, but outside, Roman troops surrounded the barracks and set everything on fire. Proximo gave Maximus the keys to all the gladiator cells and told him to free the others. Maximus asked Juba to help free the gladiators, and they all agreed to fight, even though it meant risking their lives. The royal troops broke in, and the battle began. Maximus used a secret passage to escape, but outside he found Proximo and Hagen had been killed. Hagen died from an arrow, and when Maximus reached Cicero, he found him hanged and shot with arrows. It was a trap. Commodus had found out about Maximus's plan. Maximus was surrounded and forced to surrender. In the palace, Commodus threatened Princess Lucilla, saying he would kill Lucius if she tried to stop him. Lucilla was left helpless and crying. In the Colosseum, Maximus was chained up, and Commodus planned to challenge him to a sword fight in the arena. Before the fight, Commodus secretly stabbed Maximus with a poisoned knife. The battle began, and Maximus, weakened by the poison, struggled at first, but he managed to disarm Commodus. Fearing he would lose, Commodus asked his troops to give him a sword, but Quintus, the leader of the troops, ordered them not to. Maximus dropped his sword and started to hallucinate. Seeing this, Commodus tried to attack him with a small knife, but Maximus, with his skill, turned the tables. He fought back and stabbed Commodus with his own knife. Commodus died. The crowd went silent as their emperor fell. Maximus, after defeating Commodus, told Quintus to free the gladiators who fought with him and give the power to Senator Gracchus to reorganize the government. Maximus then collapsed. Princess Lucilla approached him as he died, holding him in her arms. With tears in her eyes, she said goodbye. Maximus passed away, and Lucilla ordered a proper funeral for him. The people came forward to honor Maximus, carrying his body for the final salute. The end. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe for more videos.